At the company dinner, everyone had the right to order a dish, but when it was my turn, the new intern, Wang Lin, snatched the menu away.
We have enough food.
No need to order more. I completely ignored him, turned to the waiter, and said, "I'll have a serving of snow-red bean cake." Wang Lin immediately threw the menu right at my face, glaring at me with furious eyes. I said no ordering, which means no ordering. "Who the hell do you think you are?" A red scratch appeared on my face. It stung, and the anger inside me flared up. I grabbed the menu and smashed it right back into his face without hesitation. He instantly let out an ear-piercing shriek. "Do you know who my mom is? Shes Wang Nan, the biggest client of this company. Even the CEO has to show me some respect, and you dare hit me. I'll strip you of your top sales title and have you blacklisted from the entire industry." I froze. My biological aunt Wang Nan has been single for 40 years. Since when did she pop out a son this big? I was dumbfounded. Seeing this, Wang Lin got even more arrogant.
What?
Scared now. A gigolo who relies on his face to get sales like you. I was afraid you'd pollute the air just by being at this dinner, and you still have the nerve to order, relying on my face to get sales. I stayed up late and woke up early to work on proposals. Inhaled dust at construction sites for 8 hours a day, and got so sunburned that even my own mother wouldn't recognize me. Yet he dared to say I relied on my face. I pushed my chair back, stood up, and looked him dead in the eye. "Wang Lin,
Watch your damn mouth.
I get my sales through sheer ability. Everyone here knows what I'm capable of. You have no right to judge me. Besides, you're not the one paying for this company dinner. If I don't deserve to order, then you deserve it even less." The moment I walked into this room, I smelled something foul. Turns out it was your trashy mouth. The colleagues around us lowered their heads and snickered. They had long been sick of Wang Lin's arrogance. He had only been interning at the company for a month, yet he treated his coworkers like servants to boss around. Last time, when the new hire, Lin Shi, didn't pour him coffee, he poured a whole cup of coffee right over her head. Lin Shi's scalp was severely blistered. Not only did he refuse to apologize, but he also threatened her, "If you dare make me apologize, I'll have you kicked out of the company." In the end, the company had to cover her medical bills. I wanted to stand up for her back then, but my colleagues held me back. I wondered why no one dared to speak up. Turns out they were all terrified of his Wang Nan son label.
Wang Lin's face turned beet red with rage.
He pointed right at my nose and roared, "Zhang Chen, stop running your damn mouth. Without my mom's support, this company would be gone bankrupt ages ago. Let me tell you something. I'm the one calling the shots at tonight's dinner. If I say you can't order, you don't get to order. Who the hell are you to go against me? Try ordering a single dish, and I'll have you fired tomorrow." Hearing this, the waiter looked at me awkwardly. "Sir, do you still want to order?" I replied without hesitation. "I call your bluff. One of my projects brings in tens of millions for the company, and you're telling me I don't have the right to order a dish. What's all this noise?" Boss Bai Jiwei pushed the door open and walked in, looking extremely displeased. "A company dinner isn't the place for you to bicker."
What's going on? Wang Lin didn't give anyone else a chance to explain.
He immediately put on a wronged expression and twisted the truth. Before I could even open my mouth, Boss Bai glared at me sternly.
Zhang Chen.
"You're a senior employee. Don't. You know the company's policy on frugality.
Wang Lin did what he did.
To save the company money. Would it kill you to eat one less dish? And you actually hit him. That's completely out of line. Apologize to Wang Lin right now and pay him 10,000 yuan for emotional distress. Then, well, consider this matter settled." I was so furious I actually laughed. I looked him dead in the eye. "Boss Bai, are you sure you want me to apologize and pay up?" Bai Jiwei's expression became complicated. Ting Ting quickly tugged at my shirt and whispered, "Brother Chen, don't be so stubborn.
Wang Lin is Wang Nan's son.
You can't afford to offend him. For this upcoming contract with Tianyue, Boss Bai is counting on him to seal the deal." I couldn't hold back a laugh. "He says his mom is Wang Nan, and you actually believe him." Ting Ting immediately pulled out her phone and opened Wang Lin's social media profile. It's true. On his first day, President Wang dropped him off herself. My jaw nearly hit the floor when I saw the person in the photo. My beautiful aunt, wearing a dress and standing in front of a supercar, was indeed standing right next to Wang Lin. Wang Lin had even added a caption. "Thank you, Mom, for taking time out of your busy schedule to drop me off for my internship. I definitely won't let you down." I immediately called my aunt, but the speaker only played the automated phone as off message. Seeing that I refused to apologize,
Wang Lin glared at me with venomous eyes.
Zhang Chen.
"You're going to regret this? I'll make you pay." The very next day, the price he mentioned arrived right on schedule. At the employee recognition ceremony, the top sales title and the 500,000 yuan bonus that rightfully belonged to me were handed over to Wang Lin. On the award presentation slide, They hadn't even bothered to delete my name. This was blatant robbery. A raging fire burned in my chest. I stood up and loudly demanded,
What are the criteria for top sales?
"This month, my total project revenue exceeded 1 billion yuan, bringing in tens of millions in profit for the company. I crushed the runner-up by a massive 5 million in profit. Meanwhile, Wang Lin hasn't closed a single deal. I'm asking management right now, on what grounds are you giving my top sales award to Wang Lin?" The entire hall instantly fell dead silent. The finance manager and the sales director exchanged glances, but neither dared to utter a word. Wang Lin shot me an arrogant look. "Obviously, it's because your projects weren't obtained through honest means. The company can't tolerate your despicable behavior. Stripping you of the top sales title is just the beginning. If you keep using those dirty tricks to smear the company's reputation, you'll be looking at a termination notice." I was shaking with anger. My eyes swept across all the executives sitting on the stage. The same leaders who usually praised my abilities, who called me a talent worth grooming, were now avoiding my gaze one by one, lowering their heads and playing deaf and dumb. I looked toward the highest-ranking executive in the company, Boss Bai Jiwei. "Is this what you think too?" Being called out in front of the crowd, Bai Jiwei was clearly displeased. He frowned impatiently.
Zhang Chen.
"The company has its reasons. Don't ruin the recognition ceremony over such a trivial matter. You need to look at the bigger picture." The bigger picture, my eyes turned red, and my voice trembled. "Is this bigger picture you're talking about? The fact that I worked my ass off all year without a single day off, working overtime until midnight every single day, working myself to the bone to secure these projects, only to have my achievements handed over to someone else in the blink of an eye, just because he spouted some fabricated slander. You're completely erasing all my hard work.
Where's the fairness in that?
Where is the justice?
Treating an employee who has made massive contributions to the company like this. Don't you feel any shame?" Boss Bai was left speechless by my interrogation.
Wang Lin, on the other hand, felt no shame whatsoever.
He tilted his chin up and sneered. "Fairness." He let out a disdainful scoff.
Zhang Chen.
"Don't be so childish. In this society, whoever has the power dictates what's fair. You want justice? Then go find yourself a sugar daddy to get justice for you. Too bad you don't have one." He didn't even try to hide the contempt on his face, telling me coldly, "As for me, my status as Wang Nan's son, the CEO of Tianyue Group, is enough to crush you so hard you'll never lift your head again." I stared at him. I honestly had no idea where he got that confidence. It almost made me wonder if my aunt had actually hidden it from the whole family and secretly had an illegitimate child. I suddenly spoke up. "I heard President Wang has a nephew, whom she treats like her own son. I wonder if our champion Wang here has ever met him."
Wang Lin's face stiffened.
But he quickly shot me a disdainful glare. "That's my cousin. Of course I've met him. It's just that He's abroad all year round and rarely comes back. Even I rarely see him. A lowly peasant like you shouldn't even dream of it." I let out an "Oh, is that so?" Champion Wang isn't lowly, so why is he stealing someone else's top sales spot and bonus? Are you sure you're not a fake young master?
Wang Lin, his face turned ashen.
And he glared at me fiercely.
Zhang Chen.
"Don't push your luck. Stripping you of your top sales title is because you don't have what it takes. I earned it with my own abilities." "Your own abilities?" I took a step forward, looking at him with contempt. "You mean your ability to surf the net and play games at work every day? Take 2-hour naps and pack up to leave exactly at 5 p.m. Or your ability to stare at a computer screen all day, only to manage to type the word proposal on a PowerPoint slide." I didn't speak fast, but every word I uttered was enough to humiliate him. He opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. Looking over at Bai Jiwei for help, a look of disappointment flashed across Bai Jiwei's face before he glared at me and growled,
Zhang Chen.
"Watch your tone. This is a company, not a wet market. It's not your place to throw your weight around. Don't think that just because you secured a few projects for the company, you can act like you own the place. It's survival of the fittest. You have to accept being replaced by someone better. Stop making a scene over nothing." All eyes were on me, waiting to see me make a fool of myself and burn bridges with the company over a 500,000 yuan bonus. 500,000 or 5 million, I couldn't care less. What I wanted was fairness. I didn't get angry, and I didn't argue back. I just smiled sarcastically. "Fine, I accept it. The top sales position really should go to someone better." The moment I returned to my seat, HR sent out 2 notices, a dismissal and an appointment. Employee Zhang Chen misused company funds for extravagant dining, severely violating company policies. Decision: Zhang Chen is stripped of his position as sales director and suspended pending review. Intern Wang Lin bravely protected the company's interests and demonstrated outstanding performance during his internship, bringing significant profit to the company. He is hereby offered a full-time contract immediately and will take over Zhang Chen's position as sales director, assuming control of all upcoming projects. Right after that, Boss Bai tagged me in the company group chat. Jiang Chen is wasteful and disregards company rules. His bonus for this month is revoked. He is required to handwrite a 10,000-word self-reflection and post it in the group to serve as a warning to other employees. This was crossing the line, stripping me of my top sales title, revoking my bonus, making me a negative example, and throwing me to the wolves for everyone to mock, using my humiliation as a stepping stone for his promotion. The group chat instantly went dead silent, and even the office fell into a deathly hush. Subtle glances were directed my way, some with pity, some with regret, some with anger, and some with schadenfreude. The messages stopped there. As if everyone was waiting for me to humiliatingly admit my faults in the chat. Boss Bai tagged me in the group again. Seeing that I still hadn't responded, he went crazy, relentlessly tagging me over and over. Ting Ting sent me a WeChat message, Brother Chen. Maybe you should just apologize. Your job is more important. I smiled at her, smiling so hard tears almost fell. My fingers tapped the phone screen, and I typed my reply, understood.
Boss, I will definitely remember this lesson.
I will absolutely never order a 40 yuan dish for an extravagant meal, or be wasteful ever again. At the next company dinner, I promised to only drink water and not touch a single bite of food. At first glance, the message looked like an apology, but it was like a drop of water hitting a pan of boiling oil. Calm on the surface, but in reality, it painted the absolute disappointment of an employee toward the company. I immediately logged out of all company software and seriously began my suspension pending review. Boss Bai used the excuse, if it's not your position, don't get involved, to banish me to a desk next to the restroom, forcing me to endure the contemptuous or pitying looks of colleagues walking by. Wang Lin smugly took my seat, arrogantly bossing around the staff in the department, but my position wasn't that easy to sit in. I had handled all the previous projects personally, from design to execution. I knew every single detail like the back of my hand, but Wang Lin was completely clueless when asked even a single question. A few days passed, and a dozen clients complained, demanding that I be brought back to handle their accounts, or else they would terminate their contracts. The company was facing the risk of paying massive penalties. Boss Bai finally couldn't take it anymore. He condescended to walk over to my desk.
Jiang Chen.
You were the one following up on these projects before. Right now, there are some technical issues. Go sort them out. You have to make the clients happy. I looked up nonchalantly, putting on a confused and clueless face. Boss Bai. Did you find the wrong person? Im suspended pending review. Bai Jiwei froze, his voice turning stiff. Suspended or not, you still have to work. Company policy states you must see your responsibilities through to the end. They're your projects, so you have to take full responsibility for them. I shrugged. But I've already revoked all my login access. I have no way to follow up on the projects. His face stiffened, and his eyes flared with anger. Suspension, pending review. Doesn't mean you're fired? Why did you revoke your account access? Create a new account right now. I looked at him calmly. You were the one who said, if it's not your position, don't get involved. I'm just following my leader's orders. Boss Bai looked a bit embarrassed, but he tried to suppress his temper. How about this? I'll reinstate your position right now. Contact the clients immediately. Don't let them cancel the contracts. I smiled. Boss Bai, for something like this, shouldn't you go find our outstanding top sales? A gigolo who relies on his face to get sales like me doesn't have that kind of ability. His face turned as red as a pig's liver, trying hard to hold back his fury.
Jiang Chen.
Are you seriously taking a few jokes between colleagues to heart? I kept the smile on my face, but that smile hid shards of ice. So stripping me of my top sales title and making me lose my 500,000 yuan bonus was just a joke too. Ordering a 40 yuan dish and being accused of extravagant dining and wastefulness was also a joke. Every word I spoke was like a slap right to his face. His face went from red to white, then to a sickly green. He could only stay dead silent. I knew he was struggling intensely internally, because bowing his head and admitting fault like this really didn't suit his status as a big boss. Right at that moment, Wang Lin ran over excitedly. Boss Bai. Tianyu has agreed to invest. A radiant, triumphant smile instantly bloomed on Boss Bai's face. That's fantastic. Wang Lin, you really are our company's lucky star. With Tianyu backing us up, those clients will be begging to work with us. He turned back and glared at me with pure hostility.
Jiang Chen.
You're officially fired. Go handle your handover procedures right now. I nodded calmly. Fine, but I demand the company compensate me according to the law. He roared furiously. You still dare ask for compensation. You've caused massive losses for the company. Just wait for the company to sue you.
Wang Lin shot me an even more venomous look.
Jiang Chen.
I'm gonna have you blacklisted from the entire industry. I gave a faint, cold smile. All right, I'll be waiting. I quietly packed my things and walked out of the company I had dedicated a whole year of my life to. I had poured all my passion and intellect into this place without relying on connections, relying solely on my own abilities to help the company thrive, only to end up getting fired. My heart felt like it had been thrown onto an icy blade, cold and aching. My colleagues came out one by one to see me off, offering a few words of comfort. Ting Ting said with tears in her eyes, Brother Chen, you're so outstanding. You'll find a place wherever you go. Don't take Wang Lin's words to heart. I'm sure you'll find a new job. I just smiled and said nothing. As for Wang Lin, he didn't have what it takes. After leaving the company, I received a call from my aunt, who I hadn't been able to reach for half a month. My side is signing a contract with your company next week, but I have to go to Africa for an inspection, so I won't be able to attend. I replied dejectedly, Auntie, I quit. The other end of the line paused. Are you having trouble at work? Do you need me to step in and help? No need, Auntie. I want to go back there in your place to take charge of this project. After hanging up, I smirked. Don't rush. The good show is just getting started. I showed up at the contract signing ceremony, completely shocking the people from my old company, especially Boss Bai and Wang Lin. The looks they shot me were like daggers.
Wang Lin looked at me with disdain.
What are you doing here?
You've already been fired. You have no right to attend this signing ceremony. I gave him a side eye. Just because I'm not an employee of your company means I can't be here. Is there any possibility that I'm with party a Tianyue group? He scoffed sarcastically.
Zhang Chen.
What kind of joke is that? The chairman of Tianyue Group is my mom. I am Party A. I can absolutely represent my mom to sign this contract. You have no shame, daring to call yourself Party A. A despicable gigolo like you isn't even fit to clean the toilets at Tianyue. The moment those words left his mouth, they immediately drew countless eyes. So has President Wang's son. No wonder he carries himself so well. Daring to offend President Wang's son. Does that guy have a death wish in Haicheng? One look at his face and you can tell he's a bar host. Definitely living off women. Has nothing like President Wang's son, who looks so handsome and bright. Wang Lin stood in the center, like a star propped up by the crowd. Hearing those flattering words, he felt like he was floating on cloud 9. He looked at me, his smile growing even more arrogant, and ordered,
Security!
Throw this lowly dog out. We're starting the signing ceremony right now. A few security guards started approaching me. I didn't panic at all. I calmly took out a seal and held it up high. Wang Lin. Without this, how do you plan on signing? Everyone was stunned, their eyes glued to the object in my hand. Isn't that President Wang's exclusive crystal seal? Rumor has it this seal is crafted from natural Brazilian ruby with exquisite lotus patterns carved into it. The base bears the exclusive stamp of Tianyue Group, created by a renowned master sculptor over 6 grueling months. It's worth nearly 10 million yuan. It's Wang Nan's exclusive token. Whenever she attends important signing ceremonies, it's usually locked tight in the group's safe. Other than herself, not even her closest assistant, is allowed to touch it. How did it suddenly end up in the hands of Zhang Chen, a guy who just got fired? The venue erupted like a kicked hornet's nest. The guests, who had just been crowding around Wang Lin, now simultaneously took a half step back. Whispers and murmurs echoed endlessly. Even Bei Jiwei, standing next to Wang Lin, frowned, a fleeting look of suspicion flashing in his eyes. But right now, his mind was entirely focused on the Tianyue contract, so he didn't want to easily doubt the identity of the person standing before him as President Wang's son. The smile on Wang Lin's face froze, his pupils shrinking. As he stared intently at the seal in my hand, his fingers curled up subconsciously, and he swallowed hard twice, before pretending to be calm and shouting, You're using a fake. Zhang Chen, you're holding a grudge because the company fired you. So you dared to forge my mom's seal to come here and cause trouble. Do you know what crime this is? Forging a corporate seal. That's enough to put you in jail for years. He deliberately raised his voice, trying to use his momentum to crush the crowd's suspicions. But that slight tremble at the end of his sentence still betrayed his panic. My fingertips stroked the cool crystal seal, and a cold, faint smile tugged at the corners of my lips. I took 2 leisurely steps forward. Under the lights, the seal radiated a brilliant, sparkling glow. The intricate lines on it, crystal clear. Anyone looking at it could tell it wasn't a cheap knockoff. A fake? Wang Lin? You keep saying you're Wang Nan's son, yet you don't even recognize your own mother's exclusive seal. That's really not very convincing. With that, I handed the seal over to a white-haired, white-bearded old man sitting nearby. He was a senior figure in Haicheng's business circle, who had worked with Wang Nan for many years, and was very familiar with Tianyue Group's tokens. Mr. Zhang, could you please take a look and verify if this seal is President Wang's genuine article? Mr. Zhang took the seal, put on his reading glasses, and examined it carefully. His fingers traced the patterns on the seal. Then he flipped it over to check the stamp on the bottom. A moment later, he looked up, his gaze sweeping past Wang Lin, and said with absolute certainty, This is indeed President Wang's genuine seal. No doubt about it. The lotus pattern on it bears the personal carving strokes of the master, and the stamp here uses a special engraving technique that no one else could possibly replicate. His confirmation was like a boulder thrown into a tranquil lake. The chatter in the room grew louder and louder, and the way the guests looked at Wang Lin completely changed. From respectful adulation and flattery just moments ago, it turned into scrutiny and suspicion. Some people even stealthily backed away, afraid of getting caught in the crossfire. Bai Jiwei's face also darkened significantly. He pulled Wang Lin into a corner and fiercely questioned him in a low voice. What the hell is going on?
Why does he have President Wang's seal?
Didn't you say you were President Wang's son? How do you not even know about this?
Wang Lin was sweating bullets from the interrogation.
His eyes darted around evasively. He stammered out an excuse. My mom has a lot of seals. How am I supposed to remember them all? That punk definitely stole a knockoff from somewhere. Old man Zhang is getting up there in years. It's normal for his eyes to play tricks on him. He tried to argue his way out of it, but inside he was completely panicking. He had no idea Wang Nan even had a seal like that, let alone ever seeing the real thing. At first he had just coincidentally seen Wang Nan in a group photo at the orphanage. When he found out she was the CEO of Tianyue Group, his ambition was sparked, taking advantage of an excuse to ask Wang Nan to drop him off at his internship on her way. He secretly took a photo and posted it on his social media, lying that she was his mother. He never expected to fool everyone so easily, making the management of Huishan Company suck up to him. But he never in a million years calculated that Zhang Chen would be able to pull out Wang Nan's exclusive seal and even have Mr. Zhang authenticate it right on the spot. His lie was already starting to show cracks. I walked past Wang Lin's panicked face, stepped right up to the podium, and grabbed the microphone. My booming voice echoed through the speakers, spreading across the hall and overpowering all the surrounding noise. I now solemnly declare, Tianyue Group officially cancels the partnership signing ceremony with Huishan Company. From this day forward, all business transactions with Huishan Company are terminated. As soon as the words left my mouth, the entire hall fell so silent you could hear a pin drop. Bai Jiwei snapped out of his daze, rushed up to the podium, snatched the microphone from my hand, and roared, his face contorted, Zhang Chen, who the hell do you think you are? To speak on behalf of President Wang and cancel the contract. You're just a lowly employee fired by Huishan, holding a seal of unknown origin, and you dare come here to run a scam. Let me tell you something. This signing ceremony today, if I say we sign, we sign. By now, his eyes were completely bloodshot. The contract with Tianyue was Huishan's most crucial project of the year. If it succeeded, Huishan's status would double. How could he just stand by and watch Zhang Chen destroy all his hard work? From his perspective, Zhang Chen was just a cornered dog lashing out. Even if that seal was real, he must have used some sneaky trick to steal it. He absolutely didn't have the authority to represent Tianyue. I looked at his frantic, furious demeanor and calmly said, did I not make myself clear earlier? I am Party A. Wang Lin also ran up to the podium, pointed right at my face, and screamed hysterically, Zhang Chen,
Why do you have my mom's seal?
who the hell are you?
What right do you have to make decisions on my mom's behalf?
Hand over the seal right now. His tone sounded like he was about to cry, his eyes filled with a mix of panic, fear, and rage. He knew very well that the appearance of this seal had caused his wall of lies to crumble if he let Zhang Chen keep talking. All his acting efforts would vanish like a popped bubble. I stared right at him, enunciating every single word. My volume wasn't too loud, but it was incredibly clear. My sharp voice cut through the speakers and pierced everyone's minds. Based on the fact that she is my biological aunt. The entire hall instantly fell into a deathly silence. Everyone held their breath. Their eyes darted back and forth between me and Wang Lin. Filled with shock and confusion, he said President Wang is his biological aunt. So logically, shouldn't he and Wang Lin be cousins? But these two were at each other's throats the moment they met, full of hatred and conflict. They didn't look like blood relatives at all. On the contrary, they looked like mortal enemies with a deep-seated grudge.
What on earth was going on?
Someone was definitely lying. Either Zhang Chen was impersonating President Wang's nephew, or Wang Lin was faking being President Wang's son. It's true that in this day and age, to climb the social ladder, people will do absolutely anything, but no one expected that right at such a grand signing ceremony. A ridiculous drama of real and fake young masters would unfold. This was way more spectacular than any of the usual deceit and trickery in the business world. Wang Lin's face was now as white as a sheet of paper. All the color had drained from his face, leaving not a drop of blood. His body swayed unsteadily, almost tumbling off the stage. He gripped the microphone stand tightly to barely keep himself upright. The sheer terror in his eyes couldn't be hidden for another second. Yet he still stubbornly gritted his teeth and argued back. Impossible. You're lying? My cousin is Zhang Lin, who's always studying abroad and has never once returned to the country. If he came back, there's no way my mom would hide it from me. You're just a con artist. You're bitter because the company fired you. So you're faking it, deliberately impersonating my cousin to come here and ruin the signing ceremony.
You think you can get away with pulling a stunt like this?
He even deliberately mentioned my nickname at home, trying to make everyone around believe that he was Wang Nan's genuine son. But he was too stupid to realize that Zhonglin was me. It was just the childhood name my family had called me since I was little. Outside, I always used the name Zhang Chen. He probably just overheard some information from the old folks at the orphanage about Wang Nan's nephew being named Jiang Lin. But he was completely clueless that the person named Jiang Lin was standing right in front of him. Don't let him fool you. Wang Lin pointed at me, his voice shrill. It's because He's lazy and useless, just waiting for a paycheck without contributing, that the company kicked him out. He's clearly holding a grudge and seeking revenge, coming here on purpose to sabotage us. That damn seal in his hand is definitely a fake. He hired someone to make a replica.
Security, what are you standing around for?
Drag him out right now. Don't let him stay here spouting nonsense. He frantically screamed orders at the security guards. Only this time, the security guards just stood there like stone statues, exchanging glances. Not a single one dared to take a step forward. Mr. Zhang's confirmation was still ringing in their ears. This seal is genuine, and Jiang Chen was claiming to be President Wang's biological nephew. If they actually laid a hand on him and got involved, and Jiang Chen's words turned out to be true, wouldn't they be offending Tianyue Group themselves? How would they ever survive in Haicheng after that? In times like these, less trouble is better than more trouble. No one wanted to be the scapegoat. Seeing that the security guards weren't moving, Bai Jiwei immediately stepped forward to explain to the crowd himself, trying to prove Wang Lin's identity. Everyone, don't let Jiang Chen fool you. He's a con artist. Has been working at our Huishan company for a year, climbing up from a regular sales rep to sales director. If he really were President Wang's nephew, with a massive company like Tianyue backing him, why would he willingly work for a small company like Huishan? He paused for a beat, his eyes sweeping across the hall, his tone growing even more resolute. Furthermore, the Zhang family is a prominent family in Haicheng, with assets in the hundreds of billions. President Wang's nephew is the sole heir to the Zhang family, with such a noble status. How could he be like this guy, who, just because of a reminder message in a group chat, gets all petty and calculating, and even bickers with an intern at a company dinner? He's just a country bumpkin. From the countryside, He's absolutely not the young master of the Jiang family. These people are definitely actors he hired, trying to use this signing ceremony to latch onto the rich and powerful. Don't let him fool you. Kick them all out right now. Don't delay the contract signing. Bai Jiwei's words sounded perfectly reasonable, instantly swaying quite a few guests, who nodded in agreement. The way they looked at me was once again filled with contempt and disdain. That's right. If he really were President Wang's nephew, the heir to the Zhang family, why would he lower himself to work at Huishan? And over a 40 yuan dish, he got into a physical altercation with an intern, and over a 500,000 yuan bonus, he turned against the company. That doesn't sound like how a rich young master would act at all. Before I could retort, someone in the crowd suddenly voiced a doubt. The person speaking was the CEO of another corporation in Haicheng, who had done business with the Zhang family before, and had met me a few times. It was just that I was using the name Jiang Chen at the time, so he didn't recognize me right away. Boss Bai, that's not necessarily true. Nowadays, a lot of rich kids like to experience real life, starting from the very bottom, to prove their own abilities, not wanting to rely on family connections. Who's to say the young master of the Jiang family isn't exactly that kind of person? As soon as that was said, the crowd fell into hesitation once again. That's right. There is no shortage of low-key rich kids these days. What if Jiang Chen really was just experiencing real life? Then wouldn't they have completely misjudged him today?
Wang Lin immediately shot back,
his tone agitated. I'm experiencing real life too. When I came to intern at Boss Bay's company, my mom dropped me off herself, precisely because she was afraid some blind fool would bully me. If he really were my cousin, how could my mom not accompany him to the company and let him suffer so much grievance? As he spoke, he frantically pulled out his phone, opened his social media, and pulled up the photo of Wang Nan dropping him off for his internship. To show everyone, in the photo, Wang Nan was wearing an incredibly elegant white dress, standing next to a Maybach.
Wang Lin stood beside her, smiling very obediently.
The caption attached was, "Thank you, Mom, for taking time out of your busy schedule to drop me off for my internship. I definitely won't let you down." My aunt was a public figure in Haicheng, the CEO of Tianyue Group, with her beautiful looks and outstanding aura. Everyone in Haicheng knew who she was. One look and everyone recognized that the person in the photo was indeed Wang Nan. Seeing this photo, the guests who had been hesitating once again believed Wang Lin completely.
I told you so.
How could cousins not know each other? Jiang Chen is definitely a fake.
Exactly.
There is photographic proof right there.
Wang Lin is definitely President Wang's son.
Jiang Chen is just jealous, so he came here on purpose to ruin things. Young people these days really have no shame, just to latch onto the rich and powerful. They'll do absolutely anything, impersonating someone's nephew, and even daring to forge a seal. It's completely shameless. The whispers and murmurs started up again, every word like a knife stabbing right into me.
Wang Lin looked at me smugly.
A contemptuous smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. If he already had the victory in the bag.
Jiang Chen, hear that?
Everyone knows you're a con artist. Get the hell out of here. Don't dirty the floors of Tianyue. A lowlife like you isn't even fit to carry my mom's shoes. And you dare impersonate my cousin and forge a seal. If you don't get out of here right now, I'm calling the cops to arrest you. As soon as he finished, someone immediately chimed in. Yeah, call the cops. We absolutely cannot tolerate this kind of person. We have to let him taste prison food. Otherwise, more people will just copy him later. I looked at the scene unfolding before me, truly astounded by their sheer shamelessness. They spread vicious rumors about me, stole my top sales title, snatched my bonus, and got me fired from the company. Now that I was simply presenting the evidence to expose their lies, they had the nerve to play the victim, calling me a fraud, and threatening to call the cops on me. Is there anything more ridiculous in this world? I honestly couldn't even understand where Wang Lin got the audacity to stand in front of so many prominent figures of Haicheng's business elite and impersonate Wang Nan's son. Was he not afraid of his identity being exposed, leading to his complete ruin? I looked at Wang Lin expressionlessly, my gaze icy and my tone just as freezing.
Wang Lin? Are you sure you want to call the cops?
He looked at me, a contemptuous smirk appearing on his face. He tilted his chin up high, acting like a victor looking down from above.
What? Scared now?
If you're so scared now, why didn't you think of that earlier? Fine, I won't call the cops. As long as you kneel down right now and kowtow to me 100 times, then, in front of everyone here, publicly admit that you impersonated my cousin and forged the seal. I might consider letting you off the hook this time. He paused, his eyes brimming with calculation and greed. However, by impersonating my cousin and forging my mom's seal, you've caused massive damage to the reputation of my mom and the Tianyue group. You have to compensate me with 1 million yuan for emotional distress. Not a single penny less. I almost burst out laughing from anger, staring straight at him, the sarcasm in my eyes practically overflowing. Wang Lin, you really are greedy as a pig. 100 kowtows, plus 1 million yuan for emotional distress. Why don't you just go rob a bank? I took a step forward, pressing in on him, me piercing gaze sweeping over his pale face. Besides, you keep insisting that you're my aunt's son, but everyone present here knows
That my aunt, Wang Nan,
has been single for 40 years and has never been married. The paparazzi in Haicheng would love nothing more than to camp outside the Wang family's door every single day. If she really had a son as old as you, how could there not be a single leak about it? Do you think anyone here is going to believe that? My words were like a thunderclap, tearing through the thick fog of confusion in the room. It was like throwing open a massive gate, instantly sending the entire hall into an uproar. The guests suddenly realized the truth, whispering to each other.
That's right. How could I have forgotten about that?
President Wang is 42 this year, and She's been single for 40 years. I've never even heard of her having a boyfriend, let alone getting married and having a kid. How could a grown son just pop out of nowhere like this? But
what if she got married and had a kid in secret?
President Wang has always kept a low profile. Maybe she just didn't want her husband and son to be bothered by the paparazzi, so she kept it hidden all this time. No way. Everyone knows how ruthless the paparazzi in Haicheng are. Forget about getting married and having a kid. Even just grabbing a meal with someone of the opposite sex would be photographed and posted online instantly. If President Wang really had a son, and one this old at that, then there is absolutely no way she could hide it. Could it be? An illegitimate child. The biological father must be a nobody, which is why President Wang refused to acknowledge him and had to raise him in secret. Speculations continued to run wild.
Wang Lin's face turned as white as a sheet in the blink of an eye.
Cold sweat pouring down his forehead and cheeks, he leaned against the table next to him, his fingers gripping the edge so tightly his knuckles turned white, desperately trying to explain, no, that's not it. I'm not my mom's illegitimate child. I'm her biological son. Don't listen to his nonsense. He's just a fraud, deliberately making up rumors to smear me and my mom. His explanation was pale and weak, his voice trembling. Anyone could see how guilty he looked. I chuckled softly, my tone calm, but every word was like a sharp knife stabbing into his heart. Then how can you prove you're my aunt's son? Just with that staged photo you deliberately posed for? Or is it because you knew my aunt was on a business trip to Africa today and couldn't attend the signing ceremony, that you had the guts to impersonate her son, to seek benefits for yourself and this despicable Hui Xiong company? My words were like a sharp blade, plunging ruthlessly into Wang Lin's heart. His face grew paler by the second, his lips trembling as they moved. But he couldn't utter a single syllable. The panic and fear in his eyes could no longer be hidden. The crowd's gaze shifted to suspicion and scrutiny, all turning toward Bai Jiwei. Bai Jiwei also sensed that something was wrong. He pulled Wang Lin closer, lowering his voice, which was laced with anger and doubt. Wang Lin, are you really President Wang's son or not? I told you to arrange a meeting with your mom to discuss the partnership, but you always made up excuses to dodge it.
1 minute you said she was in a meeting.
The next, you said she was on a business trip. Now that Jiang Chen is saying all this, you better explain yourself right now. Did you lie to me? You're not President Wang's son at all. Bai Jiwei's blood ran cold. The more he thought about it, the more things didn't add up. Wang Lin had never arranged for him to meet Wang Nan. Every time Wang Nan was mentioned, he just pulled out a few photos to talk about her. And he wouldn't even give him Wang Nan's phone number. Now that Jiang Chen had exposed him like this, he suddenly realized that he might have been played from the very beginning. Wang Lin's expression stiffened, his body swaying. As he frantically defended himself, of course, in President Wang's son. My mom is just really busy. She's been in Africa lately for inspections, handling overseas business. So, she really didn't have time to meet you. Boss Bai, I swear I didn't lie to you. You have to believe me. If you guys don't believe me, I'll show you my childhood photos. I've been by my mom's side since I was a kid. He frantically scrolled through his phone, found a few childhood photos, and showed them to the crowd. However, these photos
weren't solo shots of him and Wang Nan.
They were either group photos with several people or large crowd shots.
Wang Nan was always standing in the middle of a bunch of kids in the photos.
And Wang Lin was just one of them. You couldn't see any special relationship between them at all. He pointed at the photos, hastily explaining, "This is a photo of me doing charity work at an orphanage when I was little, with my mom. This one is from when I was 10. My mom took me to a charity gala. And this one is from when I was 15. My mom threw a birthday party for me." These photos are enough to prove I'm my mom's son, right? Someone in the crowd whispered, "President Wang is indeed very passionate about charity work. She goes to the orphanage every year to donate and sponsors a lot of poor students. Her reputation in Haicheng has always been stellar. She truly is a kind-hearted person." If that's the case, Wang Lin might actually be President Wang's son. It's just that President Wang is naturally low-key and didn't want her son exposed to the public, which is why they rarely took photos of just the two of them. These words were like a shot of adrenaline for Wang Lin. He immediately straightened his back, flashing a provocative smile at me, his eyes full of smugness. "Jiang Chen, see that? Everyone believes I'm my mom's son. No matter how much you try to twist things, it's useless. You can't beat me. The contract today, I'm definitely signing it." He turned to look at Bai Jiwei, his tone impatient. "Boss Bai,
what are you waiting for?
Hurry up and sign the contract. Don't let this fraud ruin our big plans." As he spoke, he pulled Bai Jiwei's arm, dragging him toward the signing table, preparing to sign the cooperation agreement. On his own, while Wang Nan was absent, I coldly stopped him, my voice carrying undeniable authority. "Hold it." I stepped forward quickly. Raising my hand to block his path, I glared at him coldly, letting out a scoff. "A few group photos taken with kids at an orphanage can prove you're my aunt's son. Wang Lin, do you think everyone here is an idiot? If you're so insistent on claiming to be my aunt's son, then put your money where your mouth is. Why don't we just call the cops? Let the police investigate. Let them find out if you're the real young master or just a fake. Let them verify whether I actually forged this seal or not. While we're at it, we can give everyone the truth and clear the Tianyue group's name." I pulled out my phone, acting like I was about to dial 911. Panic immediately flashed across Wang Lin's face, and he screamed in terror, "Don't call the cops. Don't call the cops." He reached out to snatch my phone, but I dodged him. I raised an eyebrow at him, a mocking smile playing on my lips. "What's wrong?
Weren't you just insisting that you're the real deal?
Didn't you call me a fraud?
If that's the case, calling the cops and having them investigate me would perfectly prove your innocence and ensure I get the punishment I deserve. What are you so afraid of?" "I am not afraid." Wang Lin's eyes darted away, and he stammered. "This is the cooperation signing ceremony between the Tianyue Group and Huaisheng Company. It's a major event for Haicheng's business world. With so many people watching, if we call the cops, it'll attract media attention. It'll definitely end up trending online, and that'll negatively impact the Tianyue Group's stock. For the sake of Tianyue's interests, we absolutely cannot call the cops." He tried to use Tianyue's interests as an excuse to cover up his fear, but his words were full of holes. Everyone present was in the business world, and they all knew that if they could actually prove Jiang Chen was a fraud, forge the seal, and sabotage the signing ceremony, it would actually be a good thing for the Tianyue Group. Not only would it demonstrate Tianyue's authority, but it would also elevate the company's image. It wouldn't negatively affect their stock at all. I smiled mockingly when you wanted to arrest the fraud. That is me. You were all gung-ho about calling the cops. Now that we want to investigate your fake son identity, you're suddenly saying we can't call the cops because of the stock. Wang Lin, do you think the law exists just to serve you? Talk about double standards. You can do whatever you want, but no one else can. I picked up my phone again, my finger hovering over the call button, acting like I was about to press it. Wang Lin completely panicked, humiliated and enraged. He lost his mind and swung his hand to slap me right in the face, roaring, "Jiang Chen, You son of a bitch. You dare go against me. I'll teach you a lesson. His movement was fast and vicious, carrying a towering rage. Too bad, he spent all year living in luxury and partying, so he had absolutely no strength. I was already prepared. I dodged his strike, grabbed his wrist tightly, and twisted it behind his back. With a crisp crack, Wang Lin let out a blood-curdling scream. I had bent his wrist into a completely unnatural angle, but I wasn't done with him yet. I swung my hand and delivered a devastating slap to his face.
Smack.
The resounding slap echoed throughout the hall, overpowering all the noise.
Wang Lin was slapped so hard he spun around,
Lost his balance, and crashed onto the floor. He lay there motionless, clutching his face, unable to process what had just happened. A bright red handprint quickly swelled up on his cheek. After a long while, he finally looked up, still holding his cheek. His eyes were filled with absolute hatred and fury. As he glared at me, gritting his teeth and hissing, "Jiang Chen, you filthy gigolo. I am Wang Nan's son,
And you dare hit me.
You must have a death wish. My mom will never let you get away with this. The Tianyue group will never let you off the hook. Who did you say you were? Why don't I remember having a son?" A cold, authoritative female voice suddenly rang out from the doorway, piercing everyone's eardrums like a sharp icicle. The entire hall instantly fell dead silent. Everyone instinctively turned to look at the door. The heavy doors were slowly pushed open. A group of burly bodyguards in black suits escorted a woman. Yes, she strolled in. The woman was dressed in a sharply tailored black suit, her long hair pinned up to reveal an elegant swan-like neck. She wore light, exquisite makeup, her features absolutely stunning. Her aura was cold yet noble, her gaze as sharp as a hawk's. It was my elusive aunt, who was supposed to be on a business trip in Africa and absent from the signing ceremony. Wang Nan. Behind her followed several core executives of the Tianyue group, all wearing serious expressions, their presence incredibly imposing. As the group approached, they brought with them an invisible heavy pressure that made all the guests present instinctively hold their breath and part to the sides of the aisle, not even daring to breathe too loudly. The moment Bai Jiwei saw Wang Nan, his face instantly turned as pale as a corpse. His legs turned to jelly, and he almost collapsed to the floor. He never dreamed that Wang Nan would suddenly show up at the signing ceremony. Wasn't she supposed to be inspecting in Africa?
Wang Lin looked like he had seen a ghost.
His entire body trembled uncontrollably, the hand covering his cheek slowly dropping. His eyes were filled with sheer terror and despair. He muttered like a soulless husk. "Mom,
Why are you back?
Weren't you in Africa?
My aunt didn't even spare him a glance. She walked straight through the crowd toward me. She looked me up and down, the sharp coldness in her eyes instantly melting into tender affection. She reached out, caressing my cheek, and asked softly, "My little prince, did they hurt you? Let me see. Are you hurt anywhere?" Her voice was incredibly gentle, carrying deep concern. A complete contrast to her cold, authoritative demeanor from just moments ago. It was like she was a completely different person. If I could rationally handle everything just a moment ago and strongly suppress my grievances and frustration to deal with Bai Jiwei and Wang Lin, the moment I saw my aunt again, all my resilience and disguise instantly crumbled. All the humiliation pent up inside me, the bitterness, grievances, and indignation surged forth like a broken dam. My eyes instantly turned red. My nose stung, and tears threatened to fall, but I stubbornly held them back. I shook my head, my voice a bit hoarse. "Auntie, I'm fine." Even though it was just a few simple words, they held so much emotion. Seeing my reddened eyes, my aunt's gaze suddenly turned bone-chillingly cold. She narrowed her eyes, sweeping her gaze across the room, a ruthless expression appearing on her face. The authoritative aura of someone who had been in power for years, mixed with killing intent, instantly erupted. That intimidation made the temperature in the room feel like it had dropped several degrees. "Who dares bully my nephew?" Her voice was as cold as ice, filled with blazing fury, echoing through the speakers across the hall, piercing straight through everyone's eardrums. Those who had just been doubting, mocking, and even insulting me were now trembling in fear. They all lowered their heads, not daring to make a peep, not even daring to look my aunt in the eye. Just moments ago, they were gossiping and calling me a fake, a gigolo living off women, and now they just wished the ground would swallow them whole. They never in their wildest dreams imagined that Jiang Chen was actually Wang Nan's flesh and blood nephew, the sole heir to the Jiang family. The things they said earlier were clearly inviting disaster, twisting the tiger's tail. They had angered the two people in Haicheng you absolutely shouldn't mess with. My aunt spoke coldly, instructing the bodyguards behind her, "Check and pull all the security footage from the venue. Anyone who hurt my nephew, whether physically or with insulting words, drag them all out here. Don't let a single one go. Even if it was just a disrespectful look or an arrogant remark, do not miss it. I want them to pay 100 times over." Her words sounded like a death sentence from the Grim Reaper, carrying absolute, undeniable authority. The guests who had just been spewing slander at me were now shivering with goosebumps, unable to sit still any longer. They rushed over, bowing and apologizing to me and my aunt. their attitudes incredibly subservient and pathetic. President Wang, we are so sorry. We didn't know young Master Jiang was your nephew. We heard Wang Lin say he was your son, and that young Master Jiang was a fake, so we foolishly spoke out of turn. We really didn't mean it. Please calm down, President Wang. Please be magnanimous and forgive us this time. Young Master Jiang, I'm sorry. We were blind, looking down on others like dogs. We listened to that bastard Wang Lin's lies, which is why we offended you earlier. I'm willing to pay 1 million yuan in compensation for your reputation to apologize. I hope you can be the bigger person and let us off the hook this time. President Wang, young Master Jiang, we only did it out of respect for your son Wang Lin, that we accidentally offended young Master Jiang. Please consider that we had good intentions. We were just blinded and deceived by him. Please forgive us. From now on, we will absolutely never be so foolish again. More and more people rushed over to surround us, bowing obsequiously to apologize to me and my aunt, offering their business cards with both hands, and promising compensation with all sorts of generous terms. They weren't truly repenting or realizing their mistakes. They were just submitting to the authority of the Wang and Jiang families. After all, with the Wang family's status in Haicheng, the massive power of the Tianyue group, combined with the Jiang family's 100 billion yuan fortune. If these two great families joined forces, they could truly cover the sky with one hand in Haicheng. With just a wave of their hand, it would be more than enough to make these so-called wealthy families lose everything, leaving them with no place in Haicheng forever. How could they dare offend them? My aunt's cold gaze swept over the crowd, completely unfazed. She just said flatly, "Now you know how to apologize. Earlier, you were calling my nephew a gigolo.
A fake, a country bumpkin, weren't you?
Why didn't you think about this happening?" Her words made the apologizing crowd even more ashamed. Their heads bowed down to their chests, not even daring to breathe heavily. My aunt's gaze finally landed on Wang Lin, who was sitting slumped on the floor. Wang Lin felt her icy stare, trembling so hard from fear. Cold sweat soaking his shirt, he shrank back in terror, scooting backward, trying to avoid my aunt's gaze. But finally, he mustered all his courage and called out softly, "Mom?" There wasn't a shred of warmth in my aunt's eyes. As she stared him down, the disgust and coldness in her eyes almost froze him solid. Her tone was icy, devoid of any emotion.
Lu Yu, didn't I tell you that you're not allowed to call me Mom?
Have you forgotten what happened to those other guys? Lu Yu. The crowd was stunned when they heard that name. Wasn't his name Wang Lin? Why was President Wang calling him Lu Yu? What the hell was going on? Wang Lin. No, more accurately, Lu Yu. When he heard my aunt call out his real name, the last bit of color drained from his face. As if struck by lightning, he jerked his head up, his eyes filled with shock and terror. His lips trembled so much they cracked. "That's not it, Mom." "President Wang, I just love you too much. I didn't have any other intentions. I just wanted to be your good son. It's true, Mom. Please don't abandon me," he cried as he crawled toward my aunt, wanting to grab the hem of her clothes. But the bodyguard next to her stepped forward and kicked him, sending him rolling onto the floor.
"I'll be good and listen to you.
I promise. From now on, I'll never call you Mom in public again. I really didn't know Zhang Chen was my cousin. I know I was wrong. I'll apologize to him right now. Mom, please forgive me. Don't kick me out. I'm begging you." He knelt on the ground, continuously kowtowing to my aunt. His forehead slammed hard against the cold marble floor, making loud thuds, and soon it was covered in blood. But my aunt's eyes remained as cold as ice, without a single trace of pity. The conversation between the two of them left everyone present in complete shock. They stared wide-eyed, their faces full of disbelief. The cautious glances from earlier quickly turned into curious, gossiping stares. Whispers started up again. Only this time, everyone deliberately kept their voices extremely low. "So his name isn't Wang Lin. His real name is Lu Yu and has not President Wang's son at all. Oh my God, what on earth is going on? Who exactly is he?"
Why would he dare impersonate President Wang's son?
From what President Wang said, it seems he used to call her Mom before, and she even warned him about it. I heard that anyone who dares call President Wang Mom ends up in a very miserable state. My aunt frowned, her eyes brimming with killing intent. She never bothered to stoop down and argue with jumping clowns like him. Nor did she care to explain meaningless things, much less waste her breath clarifying the whole story to the crowd. She turned and ordered the bodyguards behind her, "Take him away. Don't let him dirty my eyes ever again." Two bodyguards immediately stepped forward, grabbed Lu Yu by the arms as he knelt on the ground, and prepared to drag him away. Seeing that my aunt really wanted to kick him out, Lu Yu completely panicked, screaming at the top of his lungs, "Mom, you can't be this heartless. I'm the son you raised since I was little. I love you so much. I respect you so much. You can't just throw away your own son for a nephew. Mom, please don't kick me out. I was wrong. I swear I'll never call you Mom again. Mom, please don't abandon me." His cries were pitiful, echoing shrilly through the silent hall. As soon as those words came out, the entire room gasped. All the guests were horrified, disbelief written all over their faces. Oh my god, what kind of earth-shattering plot twist is this? Could Liu Yu actually be President Wang's illegitimate son? Maybe President Wang just doesn't want to admit it. So She's been hiding it all this time? Even if He's an illegitimate child, he's still Wang family blood. President Wang won't even let him call her mom. That's just too cruel. Yeah, what did the kid do wrong? No one gets to choose their parents. President Wang doing this is just wicked, to be so heartless to her own flesh and blood. Maybe the biological father of this illegitimate child did something to wrong President Wang. So She's taking her anger out on the kid and refusing to acknowledge him. But even so, the kid is innocent. President Wang treating him like this is just too cruel. The gossip spread, and in the blink of an eye, countless rumors exploded. My aunt was suddenly labeled as cold-blooded and heartless, disregarding her own flesh and blood. However, my aunt's expression didn't change at all. If she completely ignored all the slander. I looked at Liu Yu, who was kneeling on the ground wailing, and then at my aunt's pale face. I knew my aunt had a sharp tongue but a soft heart.
She just didn't want to
explain those terrible past events in front of a crowd. So I strode over to Liu Yu, leaned down, and glared at him coldly. With an icy gaze, I enunciated every word, my voice echoing through the microphone across the hall. Standing up to testify for my aunt, Wang Lin.
No.
Liu Yu, drop the act right now. My aunt might be too lazy to explain, but that doesn't mean I don't know. Today, on behalf of my aunt, I'm going to lay everything out so everyone can see exactly what kind of trash you are. Hearing my words, Liu Yu's crying abruptly stopped. He lifted his bloodied face, his eyes filled with panic and extreme shock, which finally turned into despair. I stared right at him, my eyes blazing, my voice clear and resolute. Liu Yu, you are not my aunt's son at all. You're not some illegitimate child either. You are just one of the dozens of orphans my aunt sponsored. As soon as I said that, the entire hall fell into a dead silence once again. Everyone's eyes widened, looking like they couldn't believe their ears. My aunt is passionate about charity work. She sponsored over a dozen orphans at the Haicheng orphanage. You were one of them. You grew up in the orphanage, and it was thanks to my aunt's financial support that you had food, clothes, and an education. When you were little, the kids my aunt sponsored, like you, all felt she was kind and gentle, like a mother. So you all like to call her mom. My aunt couldn't bear to refuse and just treated you all like her own children. I paused for a moment, my sharp gaze sweeping over Liu Yu's pale face, then continued to expose him, but no one expected that when you grew up, a few of you boys would harbor such filthy intentions, using the fact that you called her mom when you were kids as an excuse. You went around claiming to be President Wang's illegitimate sons, wanting to use my aunt's status to climb the social ladder and cling to the rich and powerful. They even pulled despicable stunts that damaged my aunt's reputation, ruining several of her blind dates, and keeping her love life in shambles. My aunt couldn't tolerate it anymore, so she had to publicly clarify, proving she was single and childless, and certainly never had any illegitimate children. And those guys who deliberately spread those rumors faced the appropriate legal punishment and were thrown in jail. My aunt also made a clear rule that from then on, any child she had sponsored was strictly forbidden from calling her mom to avoid any unnecessary trouble. But you, Liu Yu, after those guys went to jail, you pretended to be innocent and naive, acting completely harmless and pitiful. You came crying miserably to my aunt, swearing you never had such dirty thoughts, and that you genuinely saw her as your real mother. My aunt's heart softened, pitying you for being an orphan since childhood. So she didn't hold you accountable. She even wrote a recommendation letter, getting you an internship at Huixiang Company. That day, she went to the company to discuss business, and just gave you a ride since it was on the way. Who would have thought you'd dare take that photo and go around claiming to be my aunt's son, scamming people everywhere? Not only did you throw your weight around at the company and bully your coworkers, you also stole my top sales title and swallowed my entire bonus. You even had the audacity at this signing ceremony to impersonate my aunt's son and collude with Huixiang Company to swindle cooperation resources from Tianyue. Tell me yourself, don't you deserve to be punished? My words were like bombs detonating right in the middle of the hall. Everyone suddenly saw the light, and the way they looked at Liu Yu instantly shifted from sympathy and pity to contempt and disgust. It turned out this pitiful-looking President Wang's son was actually an ungrateful, backstabbing snake raised and supported by President Wang. Not only did he not know how to repay her kindness, he even used her identity to scam people everywhere, ruining his benefactor's reputation. Someone like this truly deserves to be struck by lightning. The guests who had just been criticizing my aunt for being cold-blooded now all looked ashamed, none of them daring to utter another word. In their hearts, there was only guilt toward my aunt and extreme fury toward Liu Yu. Liu Yu's face grew paler and paler, eventually turning ashen gray. He sat blankly on the ground, his body twitching powerlessly, his lips trembling, his voice a broken mumble. No, I didn't. I'm not. He still wanted to argue, but with the truth right in front of everyone. He had absolutely no way to deny it. I smirked contemptuously. You didn't. Then tell me, why didn't you dare let Bai Jiwei meet my aunt?
Why did you keep making up excuses to avoid it?
Why did you panic so much?
When you saw me pull out her seal, why did you try so hard to stop me the moment I mentioned calling the cops?
Lu Yu, the things you've done
are all laid out plain as day right here. Are you still going to deny it? I genuinely see President Wang as my mom. I've respected her since I was a kid. Am not lying.
Mom.
I mean, President Wang, please believe me. I really just wanted to be your son. Lu Yu was still trying to make a last-ditch effort, his eyes full of pleading. He looked at my aunt. My aunt glared at him in disgust, the coldness in her eyes looking like it wanted to freeze him completely. Her voice was stern, filled with utter disappointment. If Lin Lin hadn't called me and told me you dared to parade around as Wang Nan's son, throwing your weight around and bullying him, I would still be in the dark, thinking you were a kid who knew how to be grateful.
Lu Yu.
The thing I Wang Nan hate most in this life is an ungrateful wretch, someone who bites the hand that feeds them. I sponsored you, paid for your education, and got you a job. Not so you could use my identity to scam people everywhere and bully my own family. If you were truly small and helpless, the Wang family wouldn't have minded giving you a bite to eat. I was even willing to let you stand on my shoulders to achieve your dreams, but you had the nerve to bully the nephew I love the most. The things you've done have disappointed me beyond words.
Your actions
have severely damaged my reputation and harmed the image of the Tianyue group. I won't show any mercy anymore.
I'm going to sue you.
Sue you for defamation, impersonation, and commercial fraud.
Just wait for the lawyer's letter.
My aunt's words completely shattered Lu Yu's last ray of hope. He slumped to the ground, his face ashen, his eyes empty. His previous arrogance and smugness were completely gone, leaving only bottomless despair. He knew he was truly finished. With Wang Nan's power, once she sued him, he would never be able to hold his head up again in this lifetime. Lu Yu suddenly seemed to remember something. He lunged at my feet, hugging my legs tightly, crying miserably and begging, "Young Master Jiang."
Young Master Jiang Chen.
I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please be the bigger person and let me go this time. I don't want to go to jail. Please let me off the hook. Never do it again. I'm still young. If I get a criminal record, my whole life will be ruined. Kowtow to you.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me. Please, just treat me like a fart and let me go. He kept kowtowing at my feet while he spoke, the sound of his head hitting the floor echoing, the blood from his forehead smeared onto my pant leg. It was absolutely revolting. I watched him grovel like a dog wagging its tail for its master, my expression remaining cold and indifferent. There wasn't a shred of pity in my eyes. Lu Wu, don't use your youth as a shield for your mistakes. In this world, everyone must pay the price for the wrongs they've committed. You are no exception. You used the fake identity of my aunt's son to run amok at Huashan Company, treating your colleagues like servants to be ordered around. You even poured a cup of scalding hot coffee over the new employee Linja's head, causing his scalp to blister, and then threatened him into not asking for an apology, or else you'd kick him out of the company. You stole my title as top salesperson, snatched my 500,000 bonus, and even pressured the company to fire me. You even slandered me in front of the entire staff, claiming I sold my looks for results, and that I was just a man living off women. You insulted me right in the middle of this signing ceremony, ordered security to throw me out, and even tried to lay a hand on me when you were doing those despicable things.
Why didn't you think this day would come?
Where is all that arrogance you had back then? Where is that smugness? You thought that with my aunt backing you up, you could do whatever you wanted and bully whoever you pleased. You thought, because I had no background or support, you could just trample all over me. But you forgot one thing.
Evil begets evil.
Karma spares no one for all the heartless things you've done. It's finally time to pay the price. Every word I spoke was like a sharp blade stabbing straight into his heart. Lu Yu's body suddenly went stiff, and the hands clutching my legs slowly loosened their grip. His lips trembled, but he couldn't utter another word. All that remained in his eyes was regret and utter despair. The bodyguard stepped forward and hauled up the limp Lu Yu, dragging him out of the room. Lu Yu no longer cried or screamed, nor did he bother to beg. He was like a puppet with its strings cut, letting the guards drag him away from the hall. What awaits him now is the full severity of the law. Having dealt with Lu Yu, I turned my gaze to the man standing nearby, whose face had turned pale, trembling all over Bai Jiwei. With a cold stare, I gritted out every word. President Bai, now, it's your turn. Bai Jiwei froze instantly, as if he had just been struck by lightning. His face turning as pale as ash, he looked at me, his lips quivering, unable to squeeze out a single word for the longest time. Cold sweat trickled down from his forehead to his cheeks, soaking his entire shirt. He spoke with a trembling voice, trying one last desperate plea.
Young
Master Jiang, look, this is all just a big misunderstanding. I was also tricked by that Wang Lin. No, I mean, I was deceived by Liu Yu. I really had no idea he wasn't your aunt and uncle's son. If I had known, I wouldn't have dared to offend you even if I had 100 times the courage. After all, we've worked together for a whole year.
You know what kind of person I am?
I've always valued and admired you. I only did what I did for the future of the company. I just had a momentary lapse in judgment. I fell for that bastard Liu Yu's lies. I watched him groveling on his knees like a pathetic dog, remembering all the shitty things he'd done to me. A look of pure contempt crossed my face as I let out a mocking smirk. Appreciation, President Bai. Your appreciation is such an honor, it actually terrifies me. Sweat poured down his face. Yes, he stammered in a panic. I was really just fooled by that lowlife Wang Lin. He completely brainwashed me with his lies. I swear, I never intended to make things hard for you. You have to understand, back then we were all convinced that he was President Wang's son who would dare to offend him. If you had just told me you were President Wang's nephew and that he was a fraud, I would have kicked him out of the company ages ago. I stared him down and shot back. And if I had told you, would you have even believed me? His lip twitched, but he couldn't find the words. President Bai, I want you to state clearly in front of everyone here. Does Jiang Chen deserve the title of sales champion or not? And do I deserve that 500,000 bonus? He nodded frantically, desperate to agree. Young Master Jiang has worked here for a year, and his performance has been nothing short of extraordinary. The sales champion title is rightfully yours. Forget 500,000. Even 5 million wouldn't be enough to honor your incredible talent. Young Master Jiang, he looked at me, forcing a sycophantic smile. Jiang Chen, look, everything is cleared up now. We were both victims in this. Since your resignation hasn't been officially processed yet, it's like you never left. Please, come back to work. I'll promote you immediately to Sales Director. The title is yours, and I'll transfer that 500,000 bonus to you right now. Could you put in a good word with President Wang for me and tell him we're ready to sign the contract? With that, he actually transferred the 500,000 to me right then and there. He honestly makes me sick. Even in this pathetic, dead-end situation, Hez still dreaming about signing that contract. I'm genuinely curious what kind of material his thick-skinned face is made of. I looked him straight in the eye and asked President Bai, you weren't actually naive enough to think that I canceled our partnership just because I was hung up on a measly 500,000, right? He froze for a moment and stammered guiltily, Isn't that why? Before I could even say a word, my aunt spoke up. Of course not. Jiang Chen holds a 20% stake in the Tianyue Group. His annual dividends alone amount to hundreds of millions. The Jiang family's tens of billions in assets all belong to him, their only son. 500,000, that's not even a tenth of his monthly allowance. Do you really think a young master like him cares about your 500,000? Bai Jiwai's face instantly turned beet red, and he looked so regretful he probably wanted to slap himself. How could he let the god of wealth slip through his fingers after had delivered himself right to his door? I looked at him with a mocking smile. President Bai, I originally passed on joining my aunt's company and chose to work at yours. Primarily to challenge and train myself. I could have just waited for my internship to end and gone back to run my family's business. But I couldn't bring myself to abandon the career I built here step by step with my own 2 hands. Nor could I bear to leave behind a boss I once thought was a talent worth supporting. But, President Bai, after what happened with Wang Lin, I see you for who you really are. I see right through this entire company. You simply don't deserve my dedication. And you certainly don't deserve to be a partner of Tianyue. A business that's willing to trample on its employees' interests for its own gain will eventually be weeded out by the market. Furthermore, the fact that I accepted those 500,000 in front of you
wasn't because I was desperate for the reward money,
but because it was what I rightfully deserved.
What I truly wanted was justice.
After saying that, I turned to look at my aunt and gave a faint smile.
Auntie.
It's your turn? She gave me a knowing smile, then picked up her phone and said just one thing. Blacklist.
Hui Shang Group completely.
Remember that? I want them crushed until they have nothing left to their names. Bai Jiwei hadn't even had time to process the weight of my aunt's words before his phone started ringing incessantly. Boss Bai, we're in trouble. Client A just canceled their contract. Boss Bai, Client B just filed a complaint, demanding nearly 100 million yuan in damages. Boss Bai, our stock is plummeting. It's hit rock bottom. Bai Jiwei stood frozen in place, his face turning from pale to ashen, then dark with despair, until he looked like a heap of burnt ashes. He muttered unconsciously, it's over.
It's really over.
Everything has collapsed. As for Liu Wu, who rode the coattails of being President Wang's son, to amass quite a bit of illicit wealth, he had already squandered every penny on his lavish lifestyle. In the end, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for fraud. He could have had a bright future ahead of him, but he destroyed it all with his own 2 hands. I didn't have the energy to care about those who brought ruin upon themselves anymore, because I was about to start a new chapter of my life, ready to embrace a broader and brighter future.